All right, howdy folks, we are back and I've gotten all of my darts in and I've gotten them serrated ribbed and I put little coils on the inside so that they're all nice and tight. I do like these corners very much, but I'm going to soften them just a little bit with my rib so that they are a little less, I don't know, contrary to the form, I guess. So I'm supporting it on the inside and then just ribbing up softly with my red rib. Now at this point I can decide how much volume that I want in this upper half, right? So if they kind of dent in a little bit, right, then they look a little bit like sucking in, or I can volume them out by rolling each edge out. And I think I'm gonna go for the volume because I feel like the top portion of this piece kind of asks for that more. You know, I know that this is a little bit vague, but hey, man, it's art. There's not as much black and white. So I'm looking for the best visual properties in this piece, and I hope I found it. So there we go. Rolling out. FYI, I've been exchanging emails with the dean today, and it looks like I might be able to go in and make clay maybe tomorrow. So keep me posted if you need more clay, cats, because I'm really hoping that I can get in there and do that. It seems contrary to your education if you don't have enough clay to make the projects that you want to make. So that's my hope. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with how clean this is now. I think it looks good. Let's see, I could ask my cat. No, she won't answer. I could ask my husband. He's cooking. The neighbor's out mowing the lawn. Okay, there we go. Okay, happy with that. If you can kind of see as they come around this side, you can kind of see the volume that I pushed into that portion of the form. Okay, so now, next thing is to take take that top piece off, and I have a feeling that I'm going to want to cut that into a square from the round that it is, right? So just to kind of corner this out, but I think that'll be a nice fit on top of there now. So I'm going to see what I can do about that. This guy off of here, and take care of this one. Now, if you watched that first video on combining forms, which I hope you did, you will maybe remember, I think I did, no, I didn't do this on that one. But if you're putting a top on top of something and you want it to remain in its circular form and not get pulled into an oval, which would happen if you ran a wire underneath it, because this is a bottomless cylinder, right? So instead of that, I'm going to take my fettling knife, I'm going to go blade towards me, and I'm going to spread my splash pan a little bit. And I'm just going to rotate slowly, but I'm going to be sure to keep this knife on the wheel head tightly so that I get a nice round cut, there we go, on the topper. Okay, pretty happy with that. And then you can see that the inside of this topper, you know, it doesn't look great. Well, probably you don't have chucks at home, I don't either. So instead of trying to turn it and trim it, also you want to turn and trim at a firm leather hard. And this is a little softer than that. So instead of trimming, I'm just going to hold it carefully, and I'm taking my fettling knife here, and I'm just running it around that interior edge. Just like that. Okay. And this gets some weight out. It is going to be a lot less weight on top of that nearly horizontal wall, which is probably smart, right? We don't want... Okay, found my knife. I'm back. Everything's good. Okay, so I used the fettling knife, and I cut the rounded edges here, you know, into these kind of swoops, and mostly, honestly, what I did was I put it on this piece when it was round, and then I kind of drew them on there to see how they would fit. I think you guys saw that, and then if you remember, I put a dot on one side so that I was sure I would get back to that side. So here's my dots. Those line up. I trimmed this all out. I got this all nice and clean. I did use my makeup sponge a little bit to smooth those out, and now I'm pretty happy with this. So what I'm going to do is use my serrated rib now and just do the inside edges here, because I want the outside edge to be very, very clean. And we talked about this a little bit in that video where I was combining two forms, and we talked about it in class some too, about, you know, do you want your joinery to show? And some people hate having their joinery to show. They want to make it look like they threw the whole piece in one shot, or they just don't like there being any kind of a break in the curve. I generally appreciate knowing how things are made. It's just something that I enjoy, so I never mind seeing the joinery. I say never, you know, that's pretty general. There are times when there should be no joinery, but this is not one of them. So I'm putting my slip on, my Martha Grover, my Groovy Grover slip, putting that on here, and then I am going to clean up my edges now before I put this on so that I have less to clean up when it's on. Oh, and while we were in our little break when I was looking for my knife, I also took the hairdryer, which I keep handy by my wheel. I took the hairdryer to this and firmed it up a little bit, because otherwise it was just a little too squishy and I was afraid I would lose my shape when I put the top on, because like we said, right, this is nearly horizontal, so I want to be sure that I've got enough stability. So here's my dot and here's my dot. So I'm going to put the dot closest to me. Then I'm going to look over the top to make sure I get it centered. Mostly, there we go. And that looks pretty good. Yeah, all right. Now, because this top clay is soft leather hard, I can still manipulate it a little bit. So this is going to lay down onto this surface. Right, even though there's, you know, it's an arch going onto a flat, but it's going to lay down onto that surface just as nice as can be. You know, as nice as can be. There we go. And that evens everything up nicely. And these are all slipped and scored. So now it's just going to be a matter of tidying up, right? So I'm going to go through with my red rib and with my makeup sponge. And I'm going to make sure that each of these attachments is properly compressed and is nice and even, right? I don't need the water, I just need the soft surface to be able to compress these together.